Dicen que septiembre es el mes patrio, pero también es como el lunes de los meses, es decir, se acaba el verano y uno tiene que regresar de las vacaciones, de la playa y demás a la escuela, al trabajo y demás. Es como los lunes, te lo estabas pasando también y llega septiembre. Pero en este caso, septiembre llega con una buena noticia, y es que después de un verano que estuvo bastante malón en cuanto a cine, con grandes blockbusters, pero ninguna película que realmente marcara el 2018. Sí, fans de Infinity War, no se me aloquen, sabemos que sí, estuvo padre, pero Deadpool 2, la de Han Solo de Star Wars, no, es más, hasta Jurassic World. Hubo grandes blockbusters, pero ninguna película realmente memorable. Pero bueno, la buena noticia es que septiembre está acá, y con el mes de septiembre llega una de las mejores películas, de esas que no hacen mucho ruido, pero que vale la pena ver. Se llama Buscando, o Searching en inglés. Una película independiente que se estrenó originalmente en el Festival de Sundance a principio de año. Ahí ganó un premio, empezó a hacer ruido, la gente la empezó a ver, y finalmente tenemos la oportunidad de verla en las salas de nuestro país este fin de semana. ¿De qué va Searching? Bueno, si se las cuento, parece que no es una película del otro mundo. Es un thriller que cuenta la historia de un sujeto que trata de buscar a su hija de 16 años desaparecida. Sí, es una historia que hemos visto muchas veces en el cine. Harrison Ford, ¿no? O sea, Harrison Ford, detectives, policías, ¿dónde está? ¿Quién la mató? ¿La mataron? ¿Está viva? En fin, todas esas preguntas que hemos visto en muchas películas. Pero lo que hace Buscando una película diferente es precisamente la manera en la que esa historia que hemos visto muchas veces antes está plasmada. Es decir, que el director, Aneesh Chaganty, decidió contar la historia de la única manera en la que eso no se había contado. Es decir, en una época moderna, en el 2018, y en donde todo el mundo puede buscar en todos lados, pero al final del día sabemos que gran parte de nuestros secretos están guardados en una pantalla. Pero ¿quién es Aneesh Chaganty, el director de Buscando? Bueno, su historia es de esas que inspiran y dan gusto, porque en realidad él no dirigía cine, él trabajaba en una agencia de publicidad. Su primer proyecto era grabar un video musical utilizando los Google Glass. ¿Se acuerdan? Esos lentecillos coquetos que eran el futuro. Pero luego se dio cuenta que no había comerciales de Google Glass, así que su proyecto lo mutó a un comercial de Google Glass, que no era de Google. El video se volvió viral, tuvo más de 1 millón de vistas en menos de 24 horas, y obviamente Google dijo, lo queremos, y lo contrató para trabajar en Google. Así que podríamos decir que tenía un trabajo soñado. Y es que ¿quién no quisiera trabajar en Google? Todos, menos probablemente él, que decidió renunciar a su trabajo para ponerse en marcha y grabar esta película. Una película que hizo únicamente con 2 iMacs. No necesitó de supercomputadoras, de supercámaras, ni nada. Tenía su equipo de trabajo, que eran sus 3 o 4 amigos, y con eso realizó toda esta película, que es espectacular, insisto. Así que platicamos con Aneesh Chaganty, el director de Buscando, y por supuesto, también con Debra, a quien podemos ver en la película en un papel no tan tradicional. Y es que después de reírnos con ella durante años con Will and Grace, en esta película la vemos interpretando a un agente policial. Sospechosa. Vamos a ver las entrevistas y de verdad, no dejen de ver Buscando, Searching. Créanme, es una de las mejores películas del 2018. It is a very interesting movie because it shows the story, the thriller from a screen's perspective. Yeah. How complex was the process to make everything work?
I mean, if we had an hour-long segment, I could still fill that entire thing up about how complex this was. I mean, we were only 5 people making this movie. It was me, Seb Ohani, and the co-writer and producer, Natalie Kasabi, the other producer, and Will Merrick and Nick Johnson, 2 editors. We were in one room at the corner of Melrose and La Brea in Los Angeles with 2 iMac computers that were crashing like every hour. We'd lose 20% progress, and we were editing this movie for almost 2 years. And with no end in sight, with no distribution, no nothing, you know, and it was like incredibly complex technically and also like incredibly tiring and exhausting mentally and emotionally, because like you were trying to do something new and you had no precedent, and we were just basically this big morale game. But we came out of it, and now it's coming out to everyone, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I read that at some point you got like more than 200 questions about the end of a story.
Yeah, so basically at every time, this is the way that, you know, Sev and Natalie and myself work, but every cut that we were making, we would, once we finished it, we would show it to a group of 12 people that we trusted. And at the end of the 12 people, we'd lock the room and ask them 200 questions about the entire film, about if this moment worked, if this moment worked, if this minute, was this too confusing, blah, blah, blah. And we would have like a lot of data. And then we would take the data and go back and re-edit the movie, and then continue, and then ask the same questions again, solve problems, and just keep going.
And did you got any movies, podcasts, books? I mean, the bottom is like a detective drama.
Yeah, we watched a lot of movies to inspire us and to kind of study what about the story worked and what didn't work. You know, for us it was like missing persons movies, kidnapped persons movies, you know, ransomed kids movies, all those kinds of films like Taken, Gone Girl, Prisoners, Ransom, you know, all these kinds of films. We watched and studied what worked and what didn't work, and tried to take what was best from it and adapt it to take place on screens.
Well, guys, I wonder how the project came to you. As I just talked to the director, and it was like a very small project, he and 5 people writing the story. So how did it came through you, the movie?
I got it the traditional way through my agents, and I will say I said no at first. Yeah. You know, I was very attracted to the idea of this sort of classical thriller, whodunit, but I was also like scared of, like I said I didn't want to make a YouTube video, you know, and I didn't understand, but this is before I met with Aneesh. When I met with him, he said, no, this is going to be a movie. It's going to be cinema, and the camera is going to move. It's just we're not going to come out of the screen. And so, you know, he was so energizing, such a charismatic filmmaker. I said, let's do it. I believe in you. I want to see how far you can take this.
And same with me. It came to me through my agents, and the script came with a letter from Aneesh. And I was blown away when I read the script, and I thought, okay, this kid is special.
Yeah, it's like a different character for you.
Very, very different, and that was something also that I was immediately taken with. I was really excited for that challenge.
And John, how complex was the process? Well, for both of you, how complex was the process of filming in order to get into to feel it into the screens?
Well, it was different. It was in a lot of ways. This is just my first movie. I mean, I didn't know. I had no sense of rhythm. I had no sense of how I was doing. I was just disoriented, and maybe that was good. You know, it was a struggle to sort of understand the story we were telling through this is one angle all the time. The computer was blank. You know, so we weren't looking at any of this stuff, and yet the eye lines were very important. So it all felt new, and as a result, I think I had to rely more on our director than I've ever had to do.
Also shows like a lot of our modern days. I mean, it's taking the thriller into the internet, no? Yeah, and how we talking to internet with sharing information, talking to strangers, but maybe not talking to the person that it's next to us.
The movie is taking this idea. We're living our lives, and you're holding one of those devices. We're living more and more in those, and we're talking more and more in those. And so scenes that would happen like here are now happening in there. And so how do we dramatize that? And that's what the movie tried to do, honestly. And I think, you know, movies have been poor at showing computer usage. I'm thinking back to, I recently saw You've Got Mail, and they were,
oh my gosh,
and they were saying their dialogue out loud as they typed. You
right.
know, meet me at the corner of You've Got Mail. You know, so it basically over here, over there, watching us type. This movie goes in there, and I think the real achievement is that not we go in there, but it doesn't feel like we're in there. It feels like a traditional movie.